Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time of day it is. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Dr. Don. For your first-time viewers, Conversations with Dr. Don is an ongoing series of 1-hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one-of-a-kind individuals and about whatever it is that we have decided to talk about. And tonight we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, and that's why I've titled the show, What's Important on March 22nd, 2012. My guests this evening are Toby...
Green like the color.
Green like the color, and Cody Reynolds like in Reynolds Wrap.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for
It'd be
having us.
interesting. You're both interesting in your own right because you're doing terrific good work that needs to be done for our society, our culture, and where we're at across the board. So, as you know, the show typically goes in 2 segments, and you've been on a number of times before. You're almost a fixture here, Cody.
I would hope.
Stephen, Cody.
I don't know that I'm a fixture, but I do like coming and talking to you, Don.
Yeah, I enjoy having you too. That's why I've had you come back. And it depends on how you come across. We may have you back too.
I just want to be charming and affable.
Charming and affable. Did you hear that in there, Director?
Don't throw things at me, guys.
So the show goes typically in 2 segments where we talk about who you are personally. And then we talk about whatever else comes up in the second half of the show. So let's start off. Since you've been here before, shall we have Toby be the guinea pig this time?
By all means.
All right, be gentle with me.
What's your full name, Toby?
Toby Green.
Toby Green. Do you have a middle name?
Michael.
Toby, Michael. Anything? How'd you get that middle name, Michael?
Well, my mom. She. I don't know really. Well, my mom was kind of interested in the sense that I come from a line of 5 boys, and out of those 5 boys, she named all of them with T's. So Tim, Troy, Todd, Toby, Tyler. So I am the 4th in the line. So she was just running out of stuff. I would prefer to have Michael as a first name just to stand out, but.
I like it. I like it. And when and where were you born?
Oh, I was born on a snowy November here in Portland. The Trailblazers were at the time on pace to win about 55 games in 1978. It was the year after the championship.
And native.
Huh? Yes. Oh, yeah. We're rare. We're rare these days. Everybody comes from out of town.
Yeah, yeah. And anything significant about your cultural heritage? I can't say that.
My cultural heritage? Well, my family was a bunch of cowards, to be frank. No, that's half true. But on my dad's side, we were Tories, and when the Revolutionary War took place, we took off to Canada, came on over a little while, settled in Washington, so we have a long history of protests in the U.S. government.
Yeah, you smiled when you said that. Good, good. Do you have a religious preference? By the way, if I ask you a question that you don't want to answer, you can say, I don't want to answer that. Go to the next question, okay? But sometimes I ask a question that puts someone ill at ease.
Sure. In terms of a religious preference, I love, I don't have any particular religion, but I do tend towards Taoism as a philosophical approach.
Ooh.
Yes.
You like that? I do.
I don't even know what Taoism is.
That's for the next show. And how about your formal education? Anything of interest to the viewers?
Well, Franklin High School. Did a year of college and just been a working stiff ever since.
And you have a partner, a wife, husband, boyfriend, a girlfriend?
I do. I've been with the same woman since high school, so she is sick of me, and I'll say hi to Colleen if she's watching right now. 15 years, and we just have a little daughter, 2-year-old.
That's terrific.
Adeline.
15 years.
Yes. I'm surprised she hasn't dumped me yet. She's probably working on it right now.
We're going to have to talk when this is done. I'll put you on my
Bring it on.
Your political persuasion, are you left, right, center, or off the edge?
I'm pretty left. Yeah, I'm definitely very left.
And you have any memberships in political, social, or civic organizations that are worth mentioning?
Well, I really like. Well, I'm with the laborers union. I'm a trade unionist.
Trade unionist.
Yes, I'm actually an organizer with the laborers union. So,
Uh-huh.
so we're basically our union is a laborers 4A3. We're actually the city workers in Portland, and it kind of sours you on politics a little bit, because you see it's like watching the sausage made up close. You see how these politicians deal with things regular day with people's lives at stake, and you kind of go, is that really a good decision for you to make?
Metaphors are dangerous. Look at this sausage.
Yes. Well, especially to anyone who's a vegetarian. So.
All right. So how about any persons from the past or alive today that you look up to or admire? Any names come to mind?
Well, I would, if I could meet anyone, there would be probably two people. It'd probably be, one of them would be Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, who I think it was an incredible person, and probably Leon Trotsky too. I think that his writings were amazing too.
Are you a communist?
Huh? Well, I will not answer that question. I will plead the fifth. Is this the house on Un-American Activities?
Boy, your memory is good. Huh?
I am a history buff to end all history
Joseph
buffs.
McCarthy over here.
Wait a minute, no. Okay, shall we leave you and go over to Cody here? Even though
I would be more
we've
than
been
happy
to
to
the drill
travel
before, but let's do it again.
Sure.
And your full name is Stephen?
Stephen Cody Reynolds.
Where'd the Cody come from?
My mother read a book called On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I was named after a character in the book. I go by Cody. My friends call me Cody. So if you see me anywhere, feel free to address me as such.
As long as I don't call you Helen, it's okay, right?
My father's, or Sue.
I forgot how quick he is. I shouldn't get this kind of a contest with him.
My father's first name is Stephen, so when I was young, my parents decided to go by my middle name.
And when and where were you born?
I was born in January in Hilo, Hawaii, in 1978. We're the same age. My mom grew up in Hawaii. My father moved to Hawaii to make himself scarce for the draft. Little did he realize that as the last surviving male of his family, he was undraftable, but he didn't know that. And then I moved to California, and I moved to Portland, Oregon when I was 18, and I've been a resident since.
How long did you live in Hawaii?
11 years.
11 years, huh? Did you miss it?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of Oregonians who are former residents of the state of Hawaii. We like the cold and the rain. I think it doesn't get too hot, and the rain helps us sleep.
It doesn't rain here, does it?
Well, today it was snowing, so.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, on the religious preference, can you comment about that?
I have great respect for people of faith. I personally have not been able to make that leap. I'm told that if you have faith, you know you have faith, and I don't know that I have faith, so I guess I don't.
When I hear having faith, and I wonder, what do they mean by that?
Well, exactly.
What's faith?
I don't know. But if I had it, I would know. So I guess I don't have faith.
There's a Taoist over there. Do you know what faith is?
I just have faith that the way things are, everything's in motion, and tomorrow's going to be a different day. And that's the best that we can hope for, and that you just try to prepare the best that you can, but you just know that always things are in motion.
Interesting, as you were saying that, my shoulders dropped a quarter of an inch. There's something peaceful about that thought.
I think faith is what I respect most about faith is people of faith is the sense of community that they foster in their churches and in their communities. I mean, generally speaking, these organizations, the churches, they care for one another and they look after each other. And I have a great deal of respect, like I said, for people who are so deeply a part of a community like that.
Sure, you betcha. Well, next, education.
I am a 2003 graduate of West Point, United States Military Academy at West Point.
West Point. Yo. Wow, man.
I take my hat off.
I shattered my foot in 2003, and it didn't heal right, and I can't run anymore, so the military I was less than useful, so I was out. I was medically discharged in 2004.
Yeah.
But, so my education, the School of Life, Hard Knocks, and just meeting and talking to people.
Yeah. You feel kind of sad about being discharged from the Army after all of your training and learning and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, to use the word distraught probably wouldn't be to use it incorrectly.
Oh,
but, you know, it's life, that's one of the things that life does. It throws things at you and sees how you adapt to them. And it doesn't mean that I can't continue to serve, which is one of the reasons that I'm running for Congress. I've always had a strong commitment, a desire to serve others. And, you know, through the Big Brothers organization and the local organizations that I'm involved with, you know, I'm able to pursue that life goal.
No, good. And did I ask you about your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband?
I currently am not seeing anybody.
Okay, out there, he's available.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah.
No, no special someones.
Okay. Political persuasion.
If you had to label it,
I'm not talking about labeling it, just how would you see yourself?
I would consider myself a fiscally conservative, progressive, civil libertarian.
Whoa! What are we going to do with that?
That's quite the...
Waking up, it must be tough in the morning, because, I mean, that's a, whoa, that's a broad spectrum.
It
but,
is.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't think that you have to ascribe to any one label, because the different political philosophies still share many, many things, many different values. They don't necessarily compete.
When I hear label, that turns me off.
Well, I think that that's the part of the problem is we label each other. People self-select their labels. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I'm an Oregonian. I'm from Portland. People put labels on themselves, and I try not to put labels on myself. But if I'm going to put one on myself, I'm going to try to make it as descriptive as possible.
Well, can you be descriptive about how you see yourself rather than saying it's a label?
I am a person who cares about others. I'm a person that cares about America. I'm a person that sees our nation as a great place that we can make better, and that involves cooperation and kindness and responsibility.
Okay, is that a campaign speech? That's for the second half of the show.
No,
No,
you asked.
Of course I did. And I like to tease you because you get back at me and best me every time.
Well, I'll try not to.
Please don't stop being who you are. That's why I have you back on.
All right.
Hey, on the memberships, political, social, civic organizations that may be of interest to the viewers.
I'm a member of a few. I'm a member of the NRA. I'm a member of Move to Amend Portland. I am a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm a member of the IVAW, the Iraqi Veterans Against War. I'm a member of Veterans for Peace. I'm a member of the Occupy Portland Solutions Committee.
Yeah.
And I'm a member of the Oregon Progressive Party. And I'm affiliated with the Pacific Green Party.
Do you have time to go to a movie or read a book now and then? You're so busy.
Well, yes, but not much.
Okay, all right. And we know what you do in your work life. How do you feed yourself nowadays? How do you earn your keep? Your pensions?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate. I guess it's the one thing that I guess being disabled, that I can say I'm fortunate for being disabled, in that the VA provides me with enough to pursue my passions. And I mean, it's not a lot, but it's enough.
Sure. What do you do for a living?
I am a organizer, labor organizer.
They give you a few nickels for that?
Huh?
Do they give you a few nickels for that to feed yourself?
Yes, I do. It's with the laborers union, and I'm fortunate. I mean, I work with public employees, and I feel like I'm right in the middle of where the fight is for a lot of these public employees. And so some of the things that's being talked about that Cody brought up about caring about people, really I look at that as sort of my job is that you care about people, you have to be honest with people, and you have to try to get them to believe in collective activity, that even sometimes more than individualism, is really the strength of how we're going to win.
Oh, yes. You and Dawes, too. You've got a combination going there. I was a union steward many, many moons ago in a previous life, it seems. Yeah, I love it.
Now, did you have a good experience? I always have to ask that because I have people who've been union stewards. I've had them say, you know, I couldn't stand X, Y, and Z, or this happened, and suddenly I'm going, okay. And then I find that I'm handling a grievance from years past. So what was your experience like?
You've been at this a while, I can tell by your language, yeah. Local 887 UAW-CIO, aircraft workers in L.A.
Wow, UAW, very good.
And I enjoyed being a steward because my involvement with management and the workers, and I like being a broker or a mediator or something, and seeing if I can avoid filing a grievance and make them do what they're supposed to do, make everybody happy.
That was the words of a good steward.
Yeah, but
I'm also a member of Alliance for Democracy, and I am the Progressive Party liaison to the Healthcare for All Organs, which is the new name for the organ single payer campaign. They're going through essentially a rebranding process. So those are all my social and political affiliations.
You don't have many, do you?
Well, I forgot
They're all
to.
great organizations.
I failed to remember two of them when you asked. So maybe it's too many.
Yeah. We countdown clock is not working in here anymore. I wonder how close are we to break?
He said 45 minutes about 4 minutes ago.
Okay. So let's take an early break this time in control. Can we do that? Because I want to allow enough time in the second half for the stuff these guys are talking about. So let's take a break and have the mics off for a bit, and then we'll come back and take the second.
involved.
Okay, looks like we're back. Thanks for staying tuned. For you viewers who missed the opening of the show, Conversations with Dr. Don is an ongoing series of 1-hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one-of-a-kind individuals, and about whatever it is that we've decided to talk about. And during the break, we were speculating what we talk about, and I said, save that for when the cameras come back on. So the cameras are back on again, and my guests, as you know now, are Toby and Cody. So what's important for you nowadays to talk about? Who's going to answer that question first?
I defer to Toby.
Thank you, Cody. See, what we're going to do is take the show to Vegas. Cody and Toby will go for it. So what's important for me right now is we've got a really exciting event coming up. And on May 5th, we're putting together a community assembly to draft a people's budget. And I'm absolutely excited about this.
Will you say that again, a little slower?
Sure. You got a community assembly. We're putting together a community assembly to draft a people's budget.
Community assembly to draft the people's budget. And who's the we you're talking about? The Occupy movement or Walsh?
The Occupy Labor Committee has sponsored this, and now we've got several unions have jumped on board, and community groups as well. So
when we're talking about things, we'll talk about directly what they're talking about in this particular area. This is the Portland area, but the shows are seen all over the country and all over the world for that matter. So now and then I may invite you to expand a little more,
sure,
so that it's broader in what you're talking about. So you enjoy the work?
Yes, I mean, organizing for this, what's been great, and how this has relevancy to people who aren't from Portland, is that we're going in and we're really asking the hard questions about how budgets are made. We're looking at the finances of the city. We're looking at like, for instance, what's a TIF fund? What is that? What's urban renewal dollars? These are questions that a lot of people may not know. And how are these being used? And then what does that mean for the community? What should the priorities of our community be? And so we're really excited about this event, is that we're not influenced by big business, and I hope that people in other cities and states take this model up, because right now is a time where we need to, as people who are suffering through budget cuts, who are suffering through unprecedented attacks, we need to get together and identify what it is that matters to us. May 5th at the First Unitarian Church, where we're holding this event.
Here in Portland.
Yeah, here in Portland. Mm-hmm. We're taking those first baby steps towards trying to figure that out, and we want to invite everyone who can make it come down.
So what will you do with the results of your work?
Well, with the results of work, we're going to produce a people's budget. Now, I should say, when I say people's budget, I mean to say that it's a list of priorities and values that we want to fight for. So the first step is to take these back to the organizations who supported us and ask them to ratify this, that yes, this reflects what they want. And the next step is to take this on the road to City Hall, take this to Multnomah County, go to councils, hold actions. Let's go. We're not looking to sit around and just come up with some document that doesn't mean anything. We're looking to have direct action. And we're looking to find candidates like Cody here a platform that they can run on that says, I get this, I'm going to run on this, because we believe that this will help the community.
The second thing you said makes sense to me, but I'm thinking about, are the authorities, the people in power now, are going to really consider the work you put in and your people's budget? Are they going to put that in and respond to it?
The best part is, right now, they don't care about me, and I don't care about them. And what I mean to say is, I went to the City of Portland budget process last night. They had a little clicker. And in that clicker, that tallied votes, there was about 200 people there. Mm-hmm. And of those 200 people, they listed up 5 different choices that people could make basically of what was of value to them. They're all good. Community redevelopment, jobs, transportation, healthcare, all of them were good. How do you pick one? Can somebody tell me that? So when I look at this, and when the people who are applying this or putting this together look at this, we go, we're not going to choose. We're fighting for all of it. And so the authorities in power, we've got a better message, because guess what? We don't have to lie. We don't have to sit there and make the Portland Business Alliance happy. We have to make the working people of Portland and of Gresham and of all these areas, that's who we answer to. We're not answering to them. And so to answer your question, Don, Dr. Don,
or Don, either one.
Thank you. We're going to have the program that somebody is going to feel good to carry forward.
Then is the city of Portland going to put out to the public your budget, the people's budget, or are they going to put their budget out and say, we've looked at yours and we've considered a few things from it? I'm wondering
Sure.
what is going to be the impact of the hard work you're putting in, and my hunch is it's going to be meaningful.
Mm-hmm. So to answer that question, the city is they are on a path right now that we have public process in these cities. And that public process, it starts in October when the mayor announces the budget, and it goes all the way to June 30th when the final budget comes out. That's almost 8 or 9 months of process, a public process, and it just grinds people down. They know what they want to do with the budget. Don't let anybody be fooled. They have a public process, but it's very close to being a sham.
Sure.
We are saying, I can't control that, what they do or what they pick up with the budget. If they pick it up, great. Hey, great. If they see good ideas, great. But they would say, we have a plan. We've had public process. You could have come. Well, guess what? I don't feel at home in your public process. I don't feel at home, and nor do the people who are applying this, nor do the people who are coming. We don't feel like we're truly being heard. We feel like we're being pitted against each other. And
Then
that's
why
what
are
I
you
saw
doing
last
it?
night.
Then why are you doing it?
Why are they doing it?
Why are you doing it
Well,
if you feel like they're going to ignore you?
Well, the reason is because they're ignoring the community that serves them at their own cost, at their own peril, because we're reaching out to working families. We're reaching out, not the party, but we're reaching, although we'd love them to be part, we're reaching out to the community.
And people like Cody.
And people like Cody. We're reaching out to everybody. I mean, everybody has a home here at this community assembly. And we're trying to draft a program. And I believe the reason why we're doing what we're doing is I believe firmly that we're going through a process that's bringing people together. We come in with our different struggles, all the things we're fighting for, and then at the end of the day, we come up with the things that are raising these common things. Some of the things Cody talked about earlier. You know, how should the city be ran? Should we be valuing parks? Should we be doing something about public housing? Trying to bring people together and saying, you know what? This didn't come just because I felt it or this is what I want to do. This came because we got together and we recognized each other's struggles, but the process played out that we found commonality with each other in the bigger picture. So that's the process that's playing out, and that's what gives me hope, is that's not what I'm seeing. What I saw at the budget process, for instance, last night, was I saw people came in there really caring about their city, and by the end of it left separate, left divided, left pitted against each other. And it broke my heart, quite frankly.
So then, without getting into too much detail,
Sure.
how many of you, is there 5, 10, or 20 people involved, and from the Occupy movement and that division that you're in, putting this people's budget together?
Well, it's about 35 to 50 people. Now we have planning meetings that are not that big. We have about 15 people. And by the way, we're having a planning meeting this Saturday. And anyone who's watching tonight certainly would love to have you come on down. It's at the First Unitarian Church at noon. And so we just keep hammering out, slugging away every week, doing tasks. We have a Where's the Money Committee meeting tomorrow. I mean, we have so many committees set up to put this thing on, it's hard to keep track sometimes.
Sounds good. If you see me occasionally look this way, it's because we don't have a countdown clock, so I've got to see what they're telling me from the control room. It's not out of knowing you.
All good.
So any idea about how far along you are, or when you're going to have a budget that can be presented as here's the people's budget to the ruling?
Well, absolutely. Our hope is that after May 5th is the date, we're hoping that people walk out of there with a copy of the people's budget, like we're basically able to produce it on site. That's the hope, is that they walk out of it. We've got a wonderful facilitator who's working with us to get us into a process that respects people, but also moves us along so we can get to a finished product. So I think May 5th, that night, we should be able to have it up on the internet, being sent out to our organizations, being sent out to the community at large, and then just really trying to go out. This is not an end. This is a beginning. We really want to try to identify, and the great part is, Dr. Don, is that if the city's budget comes out and it's not very good, or it hurts people, like they're talking 8%, 6% cuts, and you have Right to Dream, Right to Survive, lots of activists out there fighting. Occupy movement was down there fighting. If this budget doesn't reflect it that the city's putting out, we have an alternative.
What's that?
The people's budget. The people's budget. The people's budget is an alternative that I think is going to reflect a lot of what people want, and we're going to just keep trying to get endorsers to sponsor it, to go forward with it. This is participatory.
It's a gradual process, huh?
Well, it's gradual to start, but then the foot goes down because I think that if you're able to bring a people's budget back to an individual who supported it, and they say, you know what, I like this, then it's very easy to go, oh, you like this? Well, guess what? We have an action, a rally, what have you, and bring it back to Occupy and all the different movements going on. This has a potential to unite people, and if we fail, we fail, but we gave it a good shot, and we believe that we can succeed.
I don't think what you're talking about, failure is in the cards. It may not look good at the moment, but it's the kind of thing that's ongoing to have a viable society that's
Sure.
for the benefit of we the people. Cody, do you have any questions or comments about what Toby's been saying so far?
My questions are all procedural. You know, you said establish a list of values with regards to the people's budget. Not, you know, there's X amount of dollars. How are you going to apportion the money? That would be my only question.
Sure. Well, especially when all you hear about on TV is, well, we don't have money, and we have to do more with less. Well, I say, and this is my personal speaking, again, I can't speak for an assembly, but my personal opinion is we go after and tax the rich. Well, that shouldn't be a dirty word. Let's go get the money. We know there's plenty of money out there. The private sector right now and the banks are sitting on approximately $4 trillion, which they're using during this election time to tell us who to vote for, what to vote for. So my attitude, a great question, Cody. My attitude is that it's up to us to go get the money. It's up to us to get the money and put it to work for working people, for people of all backgrounds.
So I guess I'll be a little clearer. You have $100 million and you have 8 different things. Mm-hmm. And how do you apportion that $100 million amongst those 8 competing values? And how, I mean, is it a percentage based on who votes for it, or I guess that's my question.
Well, that's where it comes down to. It's a very good question. Okay, what do you do with it? Well, the first thing is that you look to the need more than the budget. The first thing is that, you know, do you have mothers, for instance, single mothers who are not getting by, who are trying to figure out how to get their kids to school, don't have affordable daycare? I think that's a pretty important need. So the question is do we have enough money on hand to deal with it? We have the most money any society, as far as I know, has ever had. And we can't take care of basic daycare. We can't take care of, we have people who are unemployed. We can't come up with a national jobs program to put millions of people to work right now. That's what I'm saying, is that you take the budget of $100 million and you go, okay, what can we do with it? And you prioritize it, number one, by what affects the most and what affects the most people. You know, what's their basic needs? You make sure that food, heat, shelter are the basic things that people are getting taken care of. Medical care. So you prioritize it on what's the most vital. I don't want to walk through there, but that's...
You're a utopian and idealist and all those kinds of do-gooders and tree huggers. That's what you are. So we better stop because you can keep going and I'll keep cheering you on. Let's hear from Cody some, all right? Question for you, Cody.
Yes.
You're running for Congress.
Yes.
Why?
Because I believe that we need to unseat the two-party system, that currently they don't respect the people that they serve. They represent the same interests, and they aren't the people. It's the corporate money handlers who fund their re-election campaigns and pay lobbyists to craft legislation so they don't even have to work. You know, a lobbyist will hand, here, pass this bill. Okay. I think, you know, we as a country need to take back our democracy. And I'm running as a third-party candidate because I don't trust either party. I don't think either party represents our needs.
Name the parties. The parties you're talking about.
Well, I think the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
And what party are you running for?
So I'm taking a different approach with this election. I was in the special election. I ran it as a Progressive Party candidate. And I had a real problem with getting news organizations to take me seriously because I represented the Progressive Party. So with this election, I'm pursuing, there are 8 political parties in the state of Oregon with nominating authority. And I'm pursuing...
8? I didn't know there were that many.
I'm pursuing 5 of them. I'm gonna try to present as broad a coalition of political ideologies as possible, because we as a country are not left or right. We are left, right, and everything in between. And there are people who don't want to identify with a Democrat. They don't want to identify with a Republican. So what they end up doing, the problem, truly, is I ran into this consistently when talking to people during the election. I would vote for you, but I don't want the Democrat to win. Or I would vote for you, but I don't want the Republican to win. So what we have is a political system that isn't rewarding people with good ideas. It's punishing people with ideas that you disagree with. You're not voting for someone, you're voting against someone.
Would you call yourself an independent? I'm not talking about labels now.
I am beholden to no one. So yes, I'm an independent man.
On the ballot, your name would be Stephen Reynolds. What would follow that? Independent?
Well, in
it
Oregon...
wouldn't be Democrat, it wouldn't be Republican. What would be the term that describes you?
All of the above.
You can't put that on the ballot.
No, but in Oregon we have, I don't know what they call it. I think it's called fusion balloting, where essentially you're allowed to be nominated by multiple parties. So on the ballot, I'm hoping that I get the Independent Party nomination, the Libertarian Party nomination, the Green Party nomination, the Progressive Party nomination, the Working Families Party nomination.
And all those would follow your name on the ballot?
And all of those would follow, well, 3 of them would follow my name on the ballot. And I could include all 5 in the voter statement. And how can you look at that and say that this person is an ideologue? I think that's the real problem with our politics. It's been taken over by ideologues and people beholden to the interests that aren't their constituents.
What are those interests?
Maintaining the status quo.
And what is that? Money, power.
Money. Money. It's maintaining the power structure that exists. You know, the Republican Party in Oregon is essentially a minor party. They have. I know. You tell that to a Republican. Well, we have 30% of the registered voters, but in reality, for a Republican to win in the state, it's almost impossible. We are in a one-party system, and the Democrats, it's pay to play. They have a farm team, and they cultivate talent, and you progress, and then one day you get called up to the big leagues. But during that time, while you were toiling away in the minors, you were accruing debts, favors that are owed. I just don't believe that anybody who comes through through either political party really it can come out and say that I'm a truly independent person. I'm beholden to no one. I will act in the best interest of my constituents and them only. And I don't think any candidate in the current election can say that, other than myself.
So wouldn't some people say, well, you're dancing all over the place and we can't figure what you're really about because you're covering all your bases here. Are you afraid to commit?
No. Go to my website, truth2012.org. Ask me a question. I'll take a stand. You can go to it right now. I write 2 or 3 blog posts a week. I've covered everything from gun rights to women's rights to corporate responsibility.
Out there?
Ask me a question. If you don't believe me, ask me. I answered nearly 1,000 emails during the special election. People who wanted to know my stance on everything from abortion to horse slaughter, which was surprisingly common question. Really? I wasn't really expecting that one. I had to do research. I couldn't give an answer right away.
You're getting educated, huh?
Well, you know what? Constituents have varied concerns. And I can't represent everybody, but I can represent something. All these different parties, we all have the belief that our Constitution is an important document that should guide our governance. And we're getting away from that with the recent passage of H.R. 347, with the NDAA passage, with the targeted assassination of American citizens, with the continued passage of the Patriot Act.
And we got viewers with varying degrees of sophistication. You recite numbers and,
Okay,
and acronyms. Say what those are. What's 347?
H.R. 347 essentially allows the federal government to designate an area as a national security zone.
Sure.
So if you enter that zone without permission, they can arrest you. And this isn't, to protect military installations or sensitive missile silos, or, it's to protect, it's to keep politicians from being exposed to the people who disagree with them. We have, as one of our constitutional rights in the First Amendment, the right to seek redress for our grievances. And that right to seek redress from our grievances applies directly to our politicians. We can seek redress through them, through the ballot process, but they just passed a law that said, nope, you cannot seek redress. You cannot protest.
What about freedom of speech?
Well, that's part of the First Amendment.
Yes.
They're not restricting your right to speech. They're restricting your right to speech in certain areas. So what they do, and this was prevalent during the Bush administration, is they establish free speech zones, and it would be miles from wherever the president was speaking. So there was never any coverage from the media.
Blatant.
It's ridiculous. It's alienating the voices, and I think people are becoming discouraged. So that's what H.R. 347 did. Now, with the National Defense Authorization Act, it's an important bill. It funds the military, it pays the bills, it keeps soldiers in their homes and from just walking off the job. Well, they couldn't really walk off the job, but I mean, it keeps our military flowing. It's an important organization. It serves a purpose. But so they take this good legislation, and in it they put essentially a bill or a rider that says that the federal government can say that declare you an enemy of the state, essentially, and that you can be deemed a terrorist, and you can be indefinitely detained without access to a lawyer or a right to a trial.
Yeah.
The suspension of habeas corpus runs directly counter to the principles espoused in the
Say what habeas corpus is to my
habeas corpus is the right to a trial by jury. It's the right to face your accuser. It's the right to not be held indefinitely without charges. And these are important rights that we've given up. And the president signed it with reservations. Reservations. And with it, he issued a signing order, which said, I will not enforce this. Great. It's on the books, which means at some point in the future, someone could enforce it.
It would be funny if it weren't tragic.
So this attack on our civil liberties are important. And I think that we can unite around that, because they continue to chip away, and it's bit by bit. People don't realize it, and until it affects them, it doesn't. Oh, that only affects the crazy occupiers down there breaking windows, or glitter bombing people, or doing whatever protest that they're doing to make their voices heard. Oh, it only affects them. It doesn't affect me. But I mean, the famous poem about the Nazis. I didn't.
Martin Niemöller.
Right.
Yeah, first they came for.
First they came for. At first they came for my right to protest, and then they came for my right to a trial. And as we give these rights up,
Google Martin Niemöller, Niemoller, what Cody's talking about.
So every party, Democrat, Republican, and all the minor parties, we all say that we honor the Constitution and its principles, but in effect, the two parties that are in power, the corporate parties, I like to call them corporate parties, because that's really who they're beholden to. They are chipping. It's their actions that are actually removing these rights from and the dialogue about these rights being removed. It's not the way it should be. I mean, the people should be screaming. I'm angry. I recognize what's going on, and I think people need to wake up and realize that voting Democrat or Republican doesn't matter, because they all the HR 347, the bill to establish these national security zones, passed 397 to 3. Not one member of the Oregon delegation voted against it. And I think that speaks volumes about their commitment to honor the Constitution and to honor the constituents, and their commitment to free speech, and their commitment to our rights.
You are a hard-working candidate, and your head's on straight, and your mind sounds really good. I'm aware of the time. Let me throw out a couple of random questions here, just so the viewers can get an idea of where you're at on certain fundamental things going on right now in a very broad sense of the word. So the Occupy movement, what do you think of that overall? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Or?
You know what? The anger is valid. I think that the movement is important. I think that there are certain elements that might be misinformed and not have their facts straight, but the anger is real, and it's necessary. I don't see the goals may be different, but the difference, the anger between the Tea Party activists and the Occupy movement, that's the same anger. We're angry about the same things. It's our government doesn't work for us. It works for someone else.
Let's see what Toby thinks about the Occupy movement. I think I know, but let me hear your words.
I think the Occupy movement's been fantastic, and the reason why I think that is because there are people that I've come in contact with who I never would have met otherwise. Good, hardworking people, just amazing. You know, people like, for instance, Cameron Whitten. You know, people like Dave Meyer, somebody I'm working with in the community assembly. Just all these people coming together and trying to articulate. I mean, what was so brilliant was that for about a 2-week period in October in particular, you had the city of Portland on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side you had the Occupy movement, and they would both go in, and the city of Portland would have their legislatures meet, the city council meet, and the occupiers would get there and have their general assembly. And the moral authority was with the occupiers. People said, they were saying tax the rich. They were saying the 1% has been getting over on us. I mean, what was happening in City Hall? And that's the beauty of this movement. And it's now morphed. There's relationships that have grown out of things. I just want to say one thing briefly to Cody. You know, you're really the thing that resonated with me, we were talking a little bit before the show, was the fact that you were talking about being a vet, and really we were talking earlier about being injured. Like that's the part that I loved hearing about the people that you've lost in war. It made me understand your activism and your candidacy more so. I mean, you've got an incredible program, but I just think that I just want to say thank you for the work that you're putting in. But I just want to say that I think there's people like me who want to hear that story and talk about that, because I think you've come home and you're trying to put your put your values into the political arena. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I think viewers should really hear some of that.
So
let's go broader.
For the viewers, really quickly, I was talking about I'm a graduate of West Point, and I've lost five friends, people that I saw nearly every day of my life for 4 years in this conflict, people that I could name. And I think our politicians have there's very few of them that have family members or who have personally served in the military, who've been willing to give themselves up for our country. And we need more leaders in our government. We need more people willing to sacrifice rather than to play bureaucrat.
Let's expand this thought about occupying and the Occupy movement in Portland and the Occupy movements all over America. And it seems there's some Occupy movements in other parts of the world too. Is there a common thread or reason that there's so many Occupy movements like in the Middle East and in America? Is there a common thread here? It's
the unfairness of, I mean, people are not being treated fairly by their government. We've established, I mean, essentially a caste system based upon your access to money, and with money comes access to services and a better quality of life. Yes, but it doesn't matter. There are people in our society, like my father, who gets up every day at 5:30 in the morning, goes to work till 5 in the evening, and he's been doing it for 50 years, and he makes less than $35,000 a year. Is that right? I mean, he's a contractor. He works hard, And there are men on Wall Street who have lived privileged existences, who make hundreds of dollars per year, and the equity isn't there. They're taking while other people are giving, and there needs to be equity in our system.
Is it a class warfare around the globe?
No.
What is it? Why is it this is going on?
It's a demand for equity. It's a demand to be treated equally, for fairness. We've established, you know, the glass ceiling is famously used to describe women's lack of upward mobility in corporations, but essentially there's a glass ceiling for society. You know, very few people are upwardly mobile anymore. We used to be, as a nation, and pride ourselves on our upward mobility, but we've lost it.
Why?
I couldn't answer that question in the time we have left.
Toby?
I'll just say that I think it is a class struggle around the globe. I think that our mode of economy is like a vacuum. It goes to all the working people and it sucks up their money, their pensions, and it goes to the top and gets traded around in this thing we call the stock market. And it leaves communities and people bone dry until it causes this instability that we're at. And people are coming together. I think it is about the big issues, but there's also another fundamental thing, especially in America. People want community. People want to be around each other. They don't want to be isolated off in their home. What I saw at Occupy was people, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 15-year-olds, all marching together. Didn't matter. I saw women with strollers marching with their kids. And that spirit of community is what people want. And it is a struggle because the other side, they can have their community. They can gate it. They can purchase it. So I think that we're in a struggle, and I think it's a historical one, and I think that the leaf is turning right before our eyes. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be alive right now because we have a chance to do it, and we can move forward into a better world.
What's going to happen with the Occupy movement come spring in this country, here in Portland?
The Occupy movement has got to get to what I call the stroller crowd. It's got to get to the mothers and the children and re-engage them and say, it's okay, you're not going to get, you know, that's where we got to get. And we've got to make it safe for them to come out. And it's got to be a mass movement around demands that everybody can articulate and go with it. It's like a graduation process. You start out, everybody's excited, but then it cools and we have to reborn that spirit and constantly relight that fire. And so I'm excited about it.
Do you have any inside information on the strategic moves come spring? Are they going to still try to occupy certain parks? Or are they going to go and select individual targets and confuse the authorities so the authorities don't know where to go to stop them? I've heard all sorts of ideas what they're up to. Come on, give us some inside skinny here.
I have no inside information on that. What I do know is this, is that if the situation has not gotten better, so the same things that brought 10,000 people on October 6th into the streets still exist. So I don't know if it's any particular tactic that's going to put the authorities, but the biggest thing that could put the authorities, put a little bit of fear in them, is by having whatever needs to be done to get 10,000, 20,000 people in the street and say, now is the time. And this election process may hamper that, don't know, but that spark is there. And it may be Occupy, it may be something new grows, but this is a ride. You know, we started this conversation a little bit ago about, I said everything's in motion. It really is in motion. And so the Kindle's there, we just need that match. People are ready to go. I have full faith in people and working people that if it makes sense to them, they'll stand up.
I would like to say that the various committees on the Occupy movement, the Solutions Committee, and there's a Labor Committee, and those committees are active. They've been active this entire winter, and they're pushing agendas forward: healthcare, labor, equity, housing. I mean, there's so many different committees. So if you're out there and you're watching, and you're interested in participating, please come down. You can start your own committee, and people will join.
Join the Occupy movements wherever you are around the country and around the world, whatever. So time is running out on this, so I've got to say a few words so we can stop. It's been wonderful. You guys are great guests, okay? Keep your pens and pencils handy. You may want to jot down something that you see in the closing credits about what went on here and whatever. A few public service announcements. I want to tell you about getting Dr. Don local broadcast schedule. Okay. There it is. My local broadcast schedule is on my website. Click on present day activities. And then I want to tell you about to watch my shows on the web. Go to www.donbaham.com again and click on favorite links, and we'll tell you how to get my shows up on the web so that other stations around the country can broadcast from their local studios. And the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, I know a lot of you are upset with the ACLU because of their position on the Citizens United decision. And I've gotten unhappy with the ACLU through the years. I've been a member for about 3,000 years, but the ACLU, thank goodness for the ACLU. Now, what else can I tell you about? To get my shows broadcast by other stations, ask your local public access station to go to www.pegmedia.org to find out how to do that. What else can I tell you about? Corporate personhood. We can eliminate corporate personhood. It would be a great step toward having our country return to the ordinary citizenry. Go to www.movetoamend.org to learn about how to end corporate personhood. So, before we say goodnight, I want to say a big thank you to. I gotta stop. Thanks for watching. And remember KFC, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, Dr. Don's KFC. Kind, friendly, and charitable. Be kind, and be friendly, and be charitable. To you too, and you, and you. Thanks again for watching. Good night. We'll see you next time.